Good morning everybody, hopefully you can hear me okay. It's the first really cold morning we've had on Dartmoor. It's about 1 degree, and as you can see along the river here, there's a little bit of mist rising off the water, and we're starting to get some autumnal colours. So my plan today is just to walk along the river and try and find some really nice compositions of the trees with the water below. Try some long exposures and see what we can find, shall we? Well, I think I found my first composition. Nice collection of boulders and fallen logs and some light coming through from the trees that are illuminated behind. Let me show you what I've got. Well, just about there, if you can make it out, there's some boulders that lead you across the river and sort of point up to that tree there. Some nice collection of branches, slightly autumnal colours, and one of the branches has fallen down into the river, just down there. So I'm trying different shutter speeds. I've got a circular polariser on, and I'm experimenting with blurring that water out, but I don't want to make it look too false, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to focus in on the boulders in the river, get them sharp. Here comes some nice light. F11, I'm at 1 second at the moment at ISO 100. 2-second timer. Let's see what that looks like. Well, not a bad start. I quite like the collection of boulders leading you across the river, and the shutter speed is just about right for the water conditions. That I will have to adjust as I'm walking up and down the river with the different rates of flow in the river, but a good start. So I cropped it in slightly, and just to concentrate on the boulders and to cut out some of the periphery, if you like, just to make it a much more intimate shot maybe. And I've taken some of the blue out of the water just to make it that little bit more moody. Well, don't think that was too bad as a first shot. Let's see what else we can find. Just as I'm walking along, just noticing some really lovely colours in the leaves opposite here. Not much of a shot. There's a branch coming down with lots of green leaves, and one of the smaller branches has started to turn orange and yellow. Shame I haven't got some nice water movement below, but I'm just going to try and take a very quick, maybe handheld shot of that. Well, I don't think that really worked, so it's just too dark in here at the moment, and I can see some light shining through onto trees further down the river, so let's go have a look. Well, I was just going to concentrate on the river, but I've just walked past a tree that I photographed a couple of weeks ago, and the sun is streaming through the canopy here, and I've lined up a really nice sun star. Let me show you. Well, I've got this lovely oak tree on the left hand side, the sun's streaming down the path there, and if I move the camera around you can get that sun star coming through the canopy. Got the camera set at f16, I'm at third of a second, ISO 100, no polariser or anything, focusing on the branches of the tree just here. What a lovely shot. Well, if you watched the last video I made from this location, you'll recognise this Tolkien-esque battle going on between the twisted oaks and the taller trees on the right hand side. And I just happened to get here just at the right moment as the sun was coming over the hillside in the distance, shining all the way down the path. So getting the right aperture got me this nice sun star. Well, that was a bit of a surprise, really nice. But let's head back to the river and see what I get there. Well, I'm sure just here you can see what I've seen. This lovely oak tree, the leaves starting to turn yellow, the dark branches all covered in moss and ferns. I just don't see a composition there, but really looks nice. I might just try and compose something. I might come back to this, but I want to get along the river and see if there's any better shots. So this is quite a challenging shot. I'm taking it just for reference really, and just for a bit of practice. I want a long exposure for the water, but as you can see, clear blue sky, so I need to do a fast shutter speed for that. And then of course the trees on either bank are very dark as well, so I'm going to take maybe 5 or 6 photographs, all at different shutter speeds, all the way from 2 seconds down to as fast as I need to capture the blue sky. And then in post I'm going to try and blend them all together. A little bit of an experiment. Well, as I said, this was more of a record shot and just experimenting with the different exposures. In the end, the water was at 1 second. The water was moving too fast for the 2 seconds and it made it too blurred. And then there's plenty of detail in those dark shadows around the trees. And in the end, it's quite a good image. Well, I have come back to this tree and I'm trying a portrait shot, as you can see. It might end up as a square crop. I tried one angle from that side of the tree, but the water movement is surrounding the tree here. And I've got some nice ferns in the foreground here, so I'm trying that. I'll show you what it looks like in the back of the camera. I'm f11. I'm focusing on the tree. 2-second timer. ISO's all the way down at 50. Focusing on the tree. 2-second timer. Well, the first shot I took was from the left hand side of this tree. I like the composition, I like the branches, but there was something missing from this. And then in post-processing I just happened to crop it in and came up with this nice composition. I really like the way the branches from the top come down like fingers pointing at the water, and I framed it so that the water, or the white water, is all within the frame, and it quite works much better as this sort of elongated sort of panoramic shot. And similarly from the other position, yes, I like the ferns in the foreground, and you've got the water and you've got the branches. Nice composition, but again works quite well cropping into this panoramic shot. Wasn't able to get all of the water in this time, and I wanted to concentrate on the ferns on that branch in the middle. The light coming in from behind really helps, and it's almost got a almost Japanese feel in my mind. As I'm walking back up the river, you can see the sun's really starting to shine through the trees now and creating some really bright highlights. So that's not going to help my long exposure shots. That's going to blow out all the water, make it far too bright. So I'm going to carry on a little bit further upriver into a more shaded spot, even though this is really nice just here. Some lovely shapes, but that sun is starting to come through a bit too bright just here. I can just see a dipper going down the river. I'll come back with the long lens maybe later. Well, luckily I had my 70 to 350mm lens with me, and with a little bit of stealth creeping along the riverbank, I was able to get close enough to get that bit of film and a few images. And this one was my favourite, looking through the undergrowth, which helped frame the shot. I'll try and talk as I'm walking and scouting along. What I think I'm trying to get is a shot along the river here, looking downstream with these trees that sort of arc over the river, with the light in the distance. Let's see what I can find. It's here somewhere. I don't know if you can make this out, but there's these trees sort of branch over. Maybe need to get down by the river. So I'm right down by the water's edge, so I'm having to hold the mic close to me. Otherwise you're just not going to hear me. So framed up the shot with the trees behind me, bending over the river, light in the background. Let's see what that looks like on the back of the camera, shall we? So I'm at f11, ISO 50, 1.3 of a second, focused in on that rock in the middle of the river there. Let's see what that looks like. Well, this first image is actually a panorama made up of 5 images. The only thing I should have noticed was the rock in the foreground. Should have given that a little bit more space at the bottom of the frame. But it's almost as I wanted, with the light shining in from the river beyond. And this is the same shot, just like the images before, cropped in a little bit and given this panoramic look. And I quite like this. Concentrates your eye more into the distance and is framed well by the trees on either bank. And lastly, the water running past my feet was making this, or these lines should I say, which you could only really see when you gave it this long exposure. And they make a really nice leading line up to the light in the distance. I photographed this old log maybe last year. Was trying to get a really nice composition with the trees beyond. Really nice piece of river, and hopefully the photographs are good enough for my website. Although I'm thinking I'm going to stop having a website very soon. I use a company called SmugMug. Cost me quite a few dollars every year, and it really isn't paying for itself. As you photographers will know, it's very difficult to sell prints. You have to make a real effort, and just putting them on a website and expecting people to pick them up doesn't really work. So I'm going to try something different. I think I might actually try printing my own photographs and selling them individually, giving that bit more personal touch. And we'll see how we get on in the future. It's been a really nice morning, not too cold, and the river is looking really nice this morning. Hopefully some of those shots I took will be okay, and if you like the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost anything, and hopefully I'll see you all again next week. But for now, cheerio.